Hey, Joe.
What's up, Matt?
Let's go to the mall today.
Oh, God.
So here we are with the Mallpisode.
Its
Does not
actual
roll off the
name.
tongue.
Its
Yeah.
actual name.
What a horrible name of an episode. Now, you've given this another name that I actually think is a better name for it.
Yes, this is also canonically known as the Beckipsode.
Yes.
Which,
I like that name more.
yeah, they should have just renamed it or, put in quotes.
Well, because here's the thing. Beck plays throughout everybody's story. The mall is only like a third of the episode.
Yeah. It's mainly about Beck.
It's mainly about Beck. I mean, this episode, I think, is one of the episodes that brought into mind the idea of even doing Song of the Episode, because I think even I remember this being advertised. Like, oh, you've got to watch the OC tonight. You're going to hear sneak peeks of like 4 different new Beck songs off his upcoming album. Like it was really being pushed as a promotional tool at that point, which is crazy. All in all, not the best episode, not the worst episode. I still really liked The Rainy Day way more than this, but
Sure.
we'll get there. There is one part where my brain went down way too many paths. But piece by piece, let's get there. Let's start with the Fantastic Four that makes up the mall portion of the Mallpisode first.
Sure.
So we kick off this episode. Ryan is feeling all up in his feelings because Lindsay has left. He's being a little bit of a baby about stuff, I have to say. Like, he has that line where he's just like, I just thought I was done with people leaving me. And it's like, motherfucker, for a season and a half, no one else has left you. Like, let's not. And she had very good reasons to leave. Her mom was leaving town and her dad is Caleb. Like,
That was great.
Yeah, of course you're gonna fucking leave with those options. But I did find it very cute that Seth was willing to offer Captain Oates' comfort to Ryan during his trying time, like a true 10-year-old trapped in the body of a 17-year-old who thought that maybe this toy horse can fix everything for you. And then it implies right before we get that sweet theme song that Ryan is possibly running away. Who knows? We see a bag and him loading it with clothes.
Yeah.
What could this mean?
He does love a dramatic packing sequence, and he's wearing his traveling hoodie.
Yes, he's got his travel hoodie and his travel tank top on, so you know that he means business.
Yeah.
We also catch my favorite character introduction of this entire episode is when we see that Alex has finally caught up with the rest of the world on how much Marissa sucks, as she's just like, it's like, yeah, I would love to go to the beach, but I got a fucking job. Like, why don't you
Yeah, that like we had smoothed over like passive and went straight to angry. Like just like, yeah, I would love to go to the beach, but you see this apartment that you're living in for free, basically.
For free, and we're late on rent for reasons now, and you don't do anything, and you're very expensive to be around.
You ruin my clothes. Like,
I love that when Marissa's like cleaning up the house, half of it is like beer cans. She's just like cleaning up alcohol bottles. Like, she's the worst. She's the absolute worst.
Do we think it's her own? Do we think it's just like her own beer can? Like,
oh yeah, she just sits alone in the house and drinks all day. That's what happens. That's why Alex is fed up with her. That's my guess. Seth and Summer are back together, and they're fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
They are like, I am currently in a new relationship. It is a very interesting, exciting thing as someone who's been single for 16, 17 years now. And I feel bad sometimes because the person that I'm with is a very overly affectionate person. And I love being overly affectionate when it's just the two of us alone. But being a single person for as long as I have been, I am like, public displays of that level of affection is so like tainted for me now by like knowing what it feels like to be on the other end of that, where you're just like the lonely guy sitting on the couch while like couples are just like my schmoopy and like making out with each other and shit. So
Yeah.
like Seth and Summer are like already just in full blown gross nonstop making out in front of their friends stage of their relationship. And then like Seth's trying to figure out why Ryan doesn't want to come to the diner with the two of them. Like, I've got a fucking idea, because you probably wouldn't keep your hands off of each other, you psychopaths.
Yeah. There's that moment where they get to the mall and like it's like we're having fun, and then they just like start attacking each other's faces.
Just attacking each other's faces. It's so gross. They make a plan that Summer's going to invite Marissa to come with her to the mall, and that Seth should also invite Ryan, and that hopefully like the two of them can work out their shit, and that they can like be the core four all over again.
Yes.
But that's when Seth realizes that Ryan's missing,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes and finds Ryan attempting to go visit Lindsay. And Ryan confirms, like, look, I'm not running away. This was just going to be like a weekend visit or whatever. And Seth does have a very self-reflective line where he says, no, running away would be a very Seth Cohen move. And then says, look, man, come with me to the mall. And if you still want to go visit Lindsay after this fun day at the mall, like, I will personally drive you to the train station, and I'll come up with the cover story so that, you know, mommy and daddy Cohen don't have any questions about where you are. So they go. This is the part that I was a little confused by, though. So they show up at the mall. Why are they in this back warehouse area of the store?
Because, again, in true OC fashion, they are doing some sort of charity work for the less fortunate. Which, like, the girl who is running the charity or like running that event, she's like, oh, these poor women, someone should get a restraining order against this coat. I'm like, what? What? I can't. I was like, oh no, not this. Not this. I can't have this. So I think they're like separating out people who have been collecting donations at a shop, and now they're like processing it so that way it can actually go to the charity.
So we're talking about like they're in the somehow inside the mall is what is essentially the back of like the Goodwill distribution center, where like people just drop off a bunch of their crap to Goodwill, and then there's people whose job is literally to sift through it, decide what it should be priced at, or if it's something that they can even sell at said Goodwill, and then put it out on the racks. So they're just like combing through clothes right now for whatever. And no one's going to check in on them.
Apparently not. Apparently everyone at that store is just so, how would I say this? Self-absorbed that they completely forget that there are 4 teenagers in the back. And I can just totally see it. Like that girl, the girl who is there running the event, she's all like, hey, we're closing early today. And okay, so you're closing early today, but like doesn't go back to check on them again.
Yeah, no, she's done as much work as she can possibly do, Joe. This is
apparently.
I want to check something actually, because that girl looked familiar to me for a split second, and now I'm curious if I'm okay. No, it's not her. I thought for a millisecond that it was because she's so quick in the episode. I thought it was Harmony from Buffy and Angel that like let them in the back. Like
she does look familiar.
Yeah, like she had like a similar like personality and look, and I'm like, is that a Harmony from Buffy? But I just checked that actress's IMDb, and it is not her.
Do you know who she looks like?
Who she look like?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I could,
but with blonde hair.
With blonde hair, yeah, I could see that too. There is a really great joke where they realize they're locked in this room, and Ryan says, "Oh, we should probably call somebody," and then. And then Summer presses her face against the door and just yells, "Help," really loud. And Seth just goes, "On the phone. We should call." And then, of course, they find out they have no signal. He asks Ryan if he can pick a lock, which Ryan is immediately offended by. And then they're kind of trapped in this back area for a little bit. And that's where Ryan hears that Marissa has never stopped thinking about that sexy, sexy Ryan. And suddenly it's like, Lindsay who?
Yeah.
I guess this is the true series wrap on Lindsay. Because I bet we never hear her mentioned again.
Yeah, I
from
mean,
this point on,
maybe a little bit, but actually, I would probably venture to guess with 90% certainty that we will never hear Lindsay's name again.
Yeah,
and from anybody, from Caleb, her fucking father, from Kirsten, her sister.
Well, I mean, how many more episodes do we possibly have Caleb here anyway? But
I mean, like the thing about this particular episode, right, is that it is so clearly, transparently, again, as you and I, as like very avid watchers of television and understand like television writing convention, this is so like, this could be the season premiere of a new series, of a new season.
Yeah, it's writing off old characters and moving us into the future. Like, I'm positive that we are about to write off Alex in an episode or two. Like, all of the pieces are put on the board for that next transition. But that's the thing that you and I have already figured out watching the OC is like, there is no season 1, season 2, Joe.
Mhm.
It's like season 1.1, season 1.2, season 1.3, and there's just these mini 5-episode season arcs that literally tell an entire season's worth of story with a nice cap to end every season. And then, yeah, you get like a transition episode, and then you get the new mini season inside of the season, like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I actually wrote, we'll get to it in a second, but I wrote a thing down tied to the Julie Cooper story where I was just like, does this drama never take a break? Like, it's just like, it's like, oh, we wrapped up this story, so now here's a new character to add. It's kind of like watching The Walking Dead, where they just keep finding new communities of people every season.
Yeah,
like
it's like, did this virus kill anybody?
You're just like, you're like, okay, here's the other dark person from one of the adults' past.
Sure,
that's going to show up and shake shit up for a couple episodes, and then just disappear and never be talked about again.
I may have mentioned
the rest of the show.
I may have mentioned this on a previous episode, but I was like rewatching The Walking Dead for a hot second, and I was trying, like, with the full intention of making it to the end of the series, and I got to the point. I got to the point where I like stopped watching live, which is like at the end of where they kill Glenn. And again, spoiler alert, it's been out for a long time. And then I just got tired of like King Elijah and was like, no, there's a king and a kingdom and a tiger and a man with dreads who is like walking around saying like, sally forth, tally ho.
This is going to sound terrible. I have a cousin who was a character on The Walking Dead that I guess was big enough that they made an action figure of her.
Lovely.
And I've still never seen past the first episode of this damn show. Like, I've never, I liked the first episode, and then I didn't have AMC at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, I'll get around to it. And then it was just like, from that point on, every single season just felt like more and more people were falling off. It was kind of like American Horror Story. Like, at a certain point, you're like, how many times do I need to watch American Horror Story when it seems like every season people are checking out in bigger and bigger numbers? Yeah. So yeah, not a major loss as far as as far as I'm concerned on not watching The Walking Dead. Now we're still in this goddamn mall. They finally get out of the mall, which is a huge win for them.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm sitting there thinking, these entitled idiots have not even considered the fact that security cameras exist. Like,
especially at the mall in Orange County with all these fucking white people, where like this mall from the outside, from the exterior, like the like aerial shots, it looks like the fucking Mall of America. Like, you would swear that this mall is acres large, and like loss prevention at a place like this is gonna be like pretty serious.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's all of those things. I wrote down that this is the first time I think I've seen people try to live in the mall overnight that wasn't in a horror movie, so big win there,
Yeah.
for the OC.
I thought about that. I was like, I think Matt will appreciate this episode
Yeah.
for just the, like, oh god, Daniel
Yeah, what if
Palladino
they're
antics of it all.
Yeah, it's chopping mall without the murder. I think the hardest I laughed in this entire episode comes from this moment though. And it's they're all in changing rooms, leaving messages for their parents, like basically lying about where they are. So like Summer says that she's hanging out with Marissa, and Marissa says that she's staying with her mom, and like so on and so forth. And then it gets to Seth, and he just goes, "Hey, mom, dad, Ryan and I are trapped inside the mall, so we're just gonna stay here for the night. I'll see you in the morning." Like
I may need the
the
credit card.
yeah, I may need the credit card. Like the absolute sincerity is so funny to me with that. And then the mall episode gets weird. So they play hockey. They play hockey to determine where they're going to sleep, and they set up a fake camping area in the middle of the mall. Well, first of all, they're playing hockey like it's goddamn Clerks, like they're just playing on the roof of a goddamn store or whatever. But then they set up this fake campground. Seth tries to read a postcard that's sticking like almost entirely all of the way out of a purse at this point.
Mhm.
That causes a fight. Seth is in his absolute most toxic worst in this moment.
Sure.
And that's when they realize, oh shit, security sees us. And they make this daring escape where they load the tent with 4 mannequins wearing the hockey masks, and they put on a copy of the Valley season 1 to draw the cops here. But here's the thing. If the cops are watching security and the most that these kids are doing are playing hockey and playing campground
Mhm.
in the middle of the mall, why is it a full squad of police with guns drawn already
And like a
storming into
guy in a
this?
suit after
Yeah,
hours, just like,
it's like this is literally just like turn on the fucking lights, walk in, and be like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And they'll just be like, "We got trapped in here. We couldn't get out."
yeah.
It's like, all right, cool.
We thought we were gonna have to like rough it and Lord of Flies ourselves for.
Yeah,
Oh, actually, no. Probably a better, more hip reference would be we'd have to Yellow Jackets ourselves.
yeah, we got to yellow jackets ourselves out of here. But you know, they Seth and Summer work out their differences. It's so funny to me that now it's like, oh, Marissa and Ryan were the worst. Like, wasn't all of
Mhm.
first season like, you guys are the perfect couple, you're destined to be together, you're so cute. Like now everyone's like shitting on them. And Summer finally reads the postcard, and I'm just left thinking, God, Zach is a really good dude. I like Zach so much. Summer should date Zach. So, like, um, but they look, and Ryan and Marissa seem to be on friendly terms again. That's when we get the last line of the episode. As Seth says, the Fantastic Four is becoming fantastic once again. And it's a very sweet moment. Also, a sweet moment that could have potentially been a dumb moment. So Sandy and Caleb have a huge bonding in this episode.
This broke
Seth,
my brain. I forgot about this. I'm like, oh fuck, I can't with this right now.
So Sandy notices Kirsten's not wearing her wedding ring. She says that she lost it. So he takes apart the sink in the kitchen to try to find it, being confident that it probably fell down the drain or something. And Caleb walks in while he's doing that. Caleb's upset that Lindsay has left. Again, the last
Mhm.
time we'll ever talk about this.
Mhm.
And Sandy decides that he is going to go to the boardwalk and win a toy ring from one of the boardwalk games using the crane game just to prove his love to Kirsten, which is I see where Seth gets it now.
Yeah.
Um, and he succeeds in this goal, and Caleb is supportive of it. He keeps providing him more and more quarters to make sure that
Yeah.
he can prove his love to Kirsten. And it's a cute moment. And then Kirsten reveals that she just had the ring hidden the whole time out of anger about the Rebecca thing. And we also got this very weird couple moments where it looks like Kirsten may cheat on
With
Sandy with this
Carter.
guy, with Carter, the guy who wrote the Ugly American magazine. Like how many, let me ask you this question, because I know that I'm going to have to deal with Lance for a few more episodes. How many more episodes do I have to deal with Carter? Or is this like a one episode, shows up to tent Kirsten, post Rebecca, and then like kind of fizzles out shortly after?
Oh, here, I'll give it to you this way. You will deal with Carter for as long as you deal with Lance.
Oh, they're a team. Now, let's talk about the Lance of it all. Lance shows up and he's already starting some shit in the office. He's there looking for Julie. He says he's an old friend and he wants money. It's basically a blackmail situation. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is it? What does he have over Julie? And it's revealed that Julie did porn, right?
Yep.
Now, here's where I have some serious I went down a whole fucking mental gymnastics thing, right? So the porn that she's watching is like your generic, we're going to write a porn scene for a TV show, which is always pizza delivery guy.
Sure.
Right? But then it pans to the box and says the porn identity, which, funny pun, sure. This has nothing to do with the Bourne Identity, like what we're watching at all. It doesn't make any sense why this would have that parody title. But what causes even more of a problem for me is that the Bourne Identity came out in 2002, and this episode came out in 2004. So did she do this last year? Because why else would she be in a porn called The Bourne Identity? Like, they're not going to just make that movie if there isn't a giant famous movie called The Bourne Identity in theaters right then and there for them to like use the title. Like, and listen, I'm sure that there's someone who's going to be like, yeah, but that was based on a book. Look, I've worked enough in the porn industry to tell you that they don't make porn parody titles out of obscure sci-fi novel titles. Like, it doesn't happen. It has to be a gigantic, majorly well-known and loved movie. But Joe, my brain was falling apart.
Wow. Like, Matt really said continuity error.
Yeah, in a big fucking way.
Oh my God. Well, okay, God, why am I defending Julie Cooper?
I feel like
why am I defending the writing on this show? That's really what this is about.
Because there was some episodes that were good and you're clinging to them for the life of you.
Here's the thing, Matt. Like, you don't know how they make porn in this universe. There could be a lot there could be a lot of fucking literary porn. Also, to distill the Bourne Identity down to the fact that she had amnesia and that was it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And also, like, sorry, Matt, and please feel free, as someone who has worked in this industry, if you were going to have a
Jose, I need to clarify something real quick, because there's definitely people who are listening who don't know. I was not in porn. I produce podcasts for adult actresses.
Well, no, here's the thing, Matt, if you were in porn, this is me blackmailing you like Lance.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I just want to clarify for the people who are listening. Like, and they're like, ooh, is there a Matt Kelly porn?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody want to see it. But
it's like Joey's porno in Friends. He was just in the background.
Yeah. Just in the background giving high fives.
No, so the thing about it is, like, to distill the porn identity down to just the main character has amnesia. And also, Matt, wouldn't it just make more sense if it was the porn identity, but it was like the main character was still Jason porn? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
Jason porn, and he like can't remember anything except that he fucks good, and then like he's running through all these women who are like, you know, secret agent stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense to have her be the porn identity. Like, Janice porn, I think, is I don't know, but and to your point, like, maybe there's like the hunt for Red Cocktober or something. Like, you know,
put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
Matt, before we move on, I need to ask you your feelings about another, in the same season, another potential Kirsten Sandy debacle, marital discord bullshit.
It's really frustrating because it would make sense. It would make sense if it was happening simultaneously with the Rebecca stuff, right? Like she's feeling heartbroken, but it's like we have now watched 5 episodes where it is so repeatedly reiterated from Sandy that nothing happened and that Kirsten's the only girl for him and that he's madly in love with her. So like the idea that she would even start to continue, that she would, she's not even continuing. She is now officially starting to look at someone else is like beyond frustrating. Like I'm like, you should have tried to do these 2 stories in conjunction, right?
Yeah.
Like it would make way more sense if Sandy was so focused on the Rebecca stuff and then this Ugly American Magazine guy shows up while all of that's happening and she's like, well, if he's not going to give me affection, like this guy will. But Rebecca stuff's over. It's done with. I bet we never hear the name Rebecca again after this episode, unless it's brought up in a fight or an argument later on. But like Sandy has done so many things to prove his faithfulness that it's like, it's so weird that now we're starting her search for like a potential, like it doesn't, I think it's a really bad writing decision, like a truly bad writing decision, or save it for next season. Like,
yeah,
but like immediately following the Rebecca stuff, like it's so sloppy. This is like the sloppiest plot placement I've seen on the OC thus far.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also, it's that thing that sometimes happens in media where the one partner's or one person's understanding of the situation is so like it's literally just a misunderstanding. Like even though like Sandy was very clear about like his boundaries with Rebecca, and even though it always like it got so close, he never did anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it just got close. They did kiss, but it's a kiss goodbye. It's like a sad kiss goodbye. And he got so close. He put Kirsten first. Ultimately, right? Like maybe there were like the moments
maybe
where
there was bumps along the way, but yes, ultimately he did.
Ultimately he puts Kirsten first. So it's like, why? But then what happens, and it's that trope of like the other person thinking that, oh, they have permission to do whatever because he obviously didn't put me first, but it's just because their internal understanding of the situation is twisted and it's based and entirely informed about how they feel, right? How abandoned that they felt. So it's shitty. And I can't believe that it like happens in the same season with the remaining episodes that we have left. But again, like I said, and I've been teasing this a couple episodes for you, there's things that happen at the end of this episode where she meaning Kirsten, like there's something like very groundbreaking that happens. Groundbreaking to me, it's shocking. And it's all setting up for that there's a final episode like cliffhanger going into season 3. So it's going to be,
she kills Caleb with her bare hands.
Yes.
No. So I'm excited to see where that comes, because we're down to 9 or 10 episodes left in this season. So it's gonna have to start doing the wrap up soon. Now, Joe, we covered all of the things that made the Mallpisode. Now I think it's time to talk about all the things that made the Beckisode. And that, of course, is the music used in this week's episode. So, a lot of songs in this one. When Seth and Summer are sitting in the diner conversing about how can they get things going correctly with Ryan and Marissa, you hear Beck's Missing playing. When Alex and Marissa are talking inside their apartment, the Murmur's Big Talker is playing. When Marissa's cleaning the house and Summer shows up, Latigre's TKO is playing. When they arrive at the mall, Pansy Division at the mall is playing. I'm not sure if you know anything about Pansy Division, but fascinating group.
Why would you think I would know anything about Pansy Division?
Well, I thought you might, because they were the first ever queercore punk band. It was the first ever band of all gay men. So they just wrote, and man, if you look at I think you would be fascinated by the history of Pansy Division. Okay. That's a fun little dive into it, because they definitely wrote a lot of songs about being gay, and they made sure that you never questioned if they were gay when you looked at their album covers. But they were on the same record label as Green Day. And then we get into the Beck part of the Beckisode for the second half. Once they're at the mall, we hear E-Pro when they're playing the hockey game. Que Onda Grando. Jesus Christ. How about you just say the name of this song?
Oh, Que Onda Güero. Güero.
There we go. Thank you. You said it perfectly. That's playing when Lance confronts Julie at the restaurant. Scarecrow by Beck plays when Caleb and Sandy are playing a boardwalk game. And the final song of the episode is Beck's True Love Will Find You in the End. TuneFind also said that Girl by Beck plays somewhere in here, but I did not catch that one.
It's in the beginning. It's in the very beginning.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah. It's not missing. Okay. It's Girl in the very beginning. Okay, cool.
They want you. It's the single from the album, so they really want to drive it home that this is Beck.
Which is funny, because I think that it's not the biggest song from that album for people. I think the biggest song for people off that album is what I'm picking of the song of the episode, which is E-Pro. That song with that driving bass line when they're playing hockey, I was like, fuck yes, this song. I love this album. This whole like Beck album is one of my top Beck albums. So this was a fun musical episode for me.
I want to pick Girl.
Okay.
Because I do love Girl.
First time you've ever wanted to.
Well, oddly enough. Well, okay, so the reason why I want to pick Girl is because it is so nostalgic for me. Like VH1 top 20, getting ready for high school, like just moved here, like to California from Guam. And like junior year of high school is also when, like, this wasn't my junior year, but like the next year, junior high school is when I when I actually like had a girlfriend. So I did pick a girl.
Look at
once,
that.
But like it was just so. This song is like a time capsule. I posted something on my stories a couple weeks ago where I heard on, it was on my music was on shuffle, and Dave Matthews Band's Satellite comes on.
Ooh,
and it was just like that opening guitar riff and how everything comes in like a cannon. And it was just so beautiful. And it reminded me of the summer before 7th grade, where I discovered the song and we were on vacation. I remember just thinking like, oh my God, I feel like so deep listening to this song. No idea what the lyrics are about. And this is and I posted like, hey, are there songs that take you back to like immediately transport you to a specific time period, like with utter clarity? Like I can't remember 4th from 5th grade what years those were, but I can remember hearing Satellite the summer before 7th grade.
I have one of those. For me, it's similar vein, similar time period. Matchbox 20's The Real World. It was the last summer I spent with my first best friend. It was this dude, Mac. We became friends in kindergarten. And then in third grade, he had moved to what I later found out was only about a 30-minute drive from my house. But when you're a kid, that might as well be 10 states away. So we would always try to meet up during the summer and on each other's birthdays. We'd always see each other on our birthdays, and like his family and my family were friendly. So we would go on vacation together and stuff like that. And, over time, you guys, especially kids like kindergarten throughout like middle school and high school and all that, you become different people and you start to like pull apart. And this was like the last summer that we really ever saw each other. Like we really started to like go our separate ways at that point. And I remember it was right when that song had come out, and it felt like every time we got into a car to go anywhere, that song was on the radio. We watched a morning talk show before going to the beach. Matchbox 20 was on that talk show performing the song. We watched Leno before bed. They were on Leno playing it. Like it was like we couldn't escape that song. And now anytime I hear that song, I immediately think of that last summer together.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, music's great like that. And that's I have a similar vibe with Satellite. Satellite is not like my favorite Dave Matthews song by any mile, but similar to you, like I hear that opening guitar plucking and it really does just like I feel a time and place. I can't place where I'm at in any of it, but it's like I feel that like in your chest level of nostalgia hit me pretty fucking hard. So hopefully, Joe, this might be the last time we have to give this little talk. It seems like conversations are finally happening, at least for the Writers Guild. But until we get official confirmation, we're still going to try our best to be careful with what mindful of what we're talking about. I mean, I'm going to talk about a Disney property, so I mean, I'm being a hypocrite a little bit. But
Scab, he's a scab. Get him.
But I mean, I'm Matt Kelly, and I can't not talk about the fact that the Muppets Mayhem that dropped on Disney Plus earlier this year is the best Muppets property that is dropped in probably over a decade. It is charming, it's funny, it's heartfelt, it's all of the things that you want the Muppets to be. You just don't want it to be coming from Bob Iger, because fuck that guy and fuck the way that he's treating writers and actors right now. But beyond that, if you can get past that, boy, does it feel like an old school Jim Henson Muppet show.
If you can get past the fact that, they're treating them like shit and trying to replace them with robots, which the robots are not going to stick their hand up Kermit's ass and make him go like that.
Robots can't control puppets. So as far as I know, I don't know. But, Muppeteers will always have a job. So pro Muppets here is what I'm saying. Anyway, Joe, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to dig a bigger hole for myself.
You're not saying that, you're not encouraging people to watch it, which is the line that I've heard a lot on podcasts, especially my Las Culturistas. They're like, we're not promoting it. We are saying that we've watched it.
Yes. I watched it, and as a Muppet fan, I enjoyed it.
Yes, but you are not promoting it. We are not promoting struck properties.
Yeah, do with that information what you will. That is just my opinion on the thing.
Yes. So I'm still in the middle of my Suits rewatch. I've made it to seasons that I've actually not seen before, and for whatever reason, it's fall, right? And this is when I would normally start my rewatch of the Gilmore Girls. And I never start from season 1. I start from season 3, Bracebridge Dinner, maybe. But what I really want to talk about is a show that people would be surprised that I know almost nothing about, which is the Great British Baking Show.
Oh, you've never dove into the joy that is GBBS?
No, I've never done it. And I'm now watching the first season that's on Netflix. So I think it's the first season that they become a Netflix show when they changed the name from Bake Off, Great British Bake Off, to Baking Show, because Pillsbury has a trademark in the United States on the phrase Bake Off.
I never knew that was the reason.
That is totally the reason. I am watching it, and I'm just like, I started watching it with my mom, and it's just a nice like end of the night kind of thing. it is so delightful and so like there's a lot there's the moments where there's like innuendo are really funny because they're all British, so they're all trying to be really polite about it, but it's just like these people are amateurs, but like they're like almost professionals, the kind of things that they're telling they need to be doing. And again, like the season that I'm watching is like, I'm assuming it's like we're 5 seasons into the show as a thing, so it's just really fascinating to kind of see like these people bake all sorts of different things. And then it's like we put the subtitles on because there's people they're speaking English and we have no idea what they're saying.
So I will say that GBBS kind of after I finished my Fall Asleep to Gilmore Girls marathon, that's what stepped in next, because it's an equally pleasant sounding thing to fall asleep to. There's never like screaming or yelling. It's like a calm mood, like jaunty little music. So I have to. So you started at the beginning of what's on Netflix, because Netflix will force you to start with the newest season and work backwards unless you like actively.
I'm starting from
right?
like collection 5, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. So you are with. I mean, as you know, the hosts or the judge. No, the judges mostly stay the same, but the hosts have changed
quite a
over
bit.
time. I'm sure you know. And I actually forget their names now because I'm so used to what was the Matt Lucas and Noel era that we were currently in. Now this season that's about to air will not have Matt Lucas. He has left. Noel is still there as far as I know. But it was 2 women that used to do it, and I loved them so much. Specifically just the way that she would go, bake! Ready, set, bake! And on that note, Joe, this wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, but we got through the Mallpisode, and now we are in what I would say is probably the beginning of the end for season 2 of the OC. I think there's only so many other mini seasons within seasons that they can do in 10 episodes.
The decline, right, if you will.
Yeah. So I'm tuned. Wait a second, hold on, Joe. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with me, because I've said before that the only thing I know about the OC truly is the what you say. That's this season's finale, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot that still needs to happen because we have not even seen the man that we what you said. So yeah, I guess we got to get through one more mini season before we meet the characters that lead to the final season.
Oh my God.
Right.
I love that. Like, that's what it's going to be called from now on. It's like, oh my God. So we, when SEAL Team 6 got in there and like, what you say to Osama bin Laden.
Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back with more white people problems.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.